Greetings out there, my name is Stan Hazlip, and what I'm going to show you guys is a little game I created for one of my classes. Now, this was the very first game that I ever had to create using the development kit. And basically I just experimented around with it. They said, here's the Unreal kit. You have 30 days, make a game. So I said, oh, okay. So I watched some tutorials online, began learning about it, so I created this very basic game I call the Androidian Run. Why? Because the model character they let you use kind of looks like an android. So while I'm playing the game, I'm going to be talking about it. Now, what I discovered about it is it's very easy to go ahead and lay down like actual, I guess these would be little models on the game. And I had a bunch of fun, as you can see, with the mapping. I basically just went to town. I created this huge terrain piece, and the entire level is basically all terrain with some models here and there. The models, I just took a bunch of stock models, just kind of laid them everywhere, and I really didn't know what to make with the game. I didn't want to make a shooter. I figured every single person and their mother was going to make a shooter. So I made something even more basic than a shooter that I figured no one else would make. I made a platformer. So as you can see, my guy, the default weapon is turned off, and he's just going to run around avoiding hazards. And as you can see, one of the hazards that I come across is going to be this little pit right here. If I fall down this pit, I'm actually pretty much fine until I hit right there. You see right there, I created an actual water hazard. To actually create the water hazard, I didn't use water volumes. I wasn't that advanced. Like I said, I created this in essentially 1 week with knowing very little about UDK. So I just created basically exits into the terrain. So once the character exits the terrain, it considers it as a fall death. So and he'll actually hit the water, and if he does hit the actual liquid hazard, the sewage I created down there, and I decided to create some really bad model, actually just port in some really bad models to make it look like this is kind of an alien planet that he's on. You can actually see outside the map, and I didn't really create anything outside the map. And here's a jump I'm not too proud of, but I left it in because, once again, this is just an experiment piece I created for a class. This jump, you basically fall really far as you can. And I was never that proud of this section right here. One day I may polish it up. And once again, a little water hazard inside the flow building. I added a little bit of lighting just to make it look like that you're somewhere. Make it look like this is some kind of planet, you're on some kind of mission. And some kind of blank archway here. Anyways, back to why I created this. The reason why I created this little very simple platform is because they showed us how to manipulate the camera. And one of the manipulations I did with the camera is I set it so that it's directly outside the character. As you can see, I can move the mouse around, I can move it left and right, but up and down, completely disabled. So it's completely locked. The reason why it's completely locked is because this is just a very straight, basic platformer. You're only supposed to go in one linear direction. As you can see here, I've just been going on what seems like a straight set path. There's really not that much deviation I can take without hitting either some water damage. You can see if I make a couple of steps to the left or to the right, I'm going to fall. There's really no other place I can go except straight. Just straight on to go. Right around here, I discovered that my terrain isn't as big as I like, because I wanted to make a big arching map. And so I started looping around, and I'm having the character go up what I called the Stairway to Heaven originally. It was a big, long stairway that, unfortunately, because of the lock camera, you can't actually look up on. Alright, and here's a big, long jump. Okay, so we're in this room, and where else can we go besides straight? Originally, when I started messing with UDK, I was wondering how games like Mass Effect or how Dragon Age or all these other games or even Batman, say Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, are created using this because I had no idea. Then I learned you can import models from, say, Maya or from 3D Max, place them in this game, and you know, UDK really, technically speaking, really isn't that difficult to mess with. I mean, To be perfectly honest, I created most of this inside 3 weeks. The last week I had was just basically polishing up, and this final section here. And I tried to create a bit of a more open area here, but once again, my first time ever messing with the engine, didn't know what else I can go ahead and do with it. So, you know, onwards and upwards. There's a small branching path. It really doesn't lead to anywhere. See right here? Gives you the false sense of illusion that you're allowed to roam around this world, when in actuality, you're not. And as you can see, I moved up the terrain. All this was just me messing with the terrain mapping. Okay, anyways, we're almost done with the actual level. I'm just roaming around just to show you guys that I was messing with the ability to roam around. And you see how my health is at 51%? Yeah, because of that long fall that I mentioned long ago that I wasn't proud of, yeah, that fall always takes away a lot of health. It takes away just enough health that if you take another fall from that leap of faith that we made way back there, if you mess up that fall, you're dead. So you get 2 really long jumps to go ahead and get right. If you don't get them right, you're dead. And finally, we have this section here. I created another building for the player to come on in, because I thought, why not? What other way to end this game? Or this level? And finally, we reach this room. Alright, there's not much going on in this room. Put a bunch of models in here of the character to make it look like he had reached the end goal. And when originally I showed this to our instructor, he was like, well, I must have definitely reached the end. So what do I do next? And here's where I didn't add anything in. Once again, me perfectly experimenting with the level. I didn't make a game over sequence. The only game over sequence is, well, you just walked into this room and there's no way out. What am I going to do? I can't get out of here in any single way. I can't clip through the walls. I know it doesn't look like I put much into this, but yeah, no clipping, no going through. So the only way to get out is to go through that little pit of goo that you've spent the entire level avoiding. So why not? Let's go ahead and do this. And, well, that will be the game. Thank you very much for giving a watch. Hope you have a good one. Yep.